We're talking about mastery at the Masters with Rory McIlroy today. Now, he's not here, but we're going to pretend that I'm getting the opportunity to interview him because we're actually going to pull up his interview as he was about to get his green jacket. And what this means for you is the power of mastery and why it is so important that you are the person who not only masters your craft, but also masters the world with paid advertising. And I'm going to honestly prove it to you today on why mastery is exactly what you want. So I don't know if any of you were watching the Masters recently, but when I was watching Rory, did you ever get the feeling that he was just so much further ahead than you? Like you're sitting there and you're like, wow, I'm so behind. Like he has truly mastered this. And I realized something that I actually have in common with Rory McIlroy. You want to know what that is? Mastery. He and I have both mastered our craft. No, it's not that we can both hit a double bogey because trust me, like that I can. But it is also mastery of something. And I want to go into what does the actual definition of mastery say? It says mastery means you've learned something so well that you deeply understand it and can use it skillfully, almost effortlessly. It's not just being good at something, it's being exceptional and in control of it. I'm telling you what, you put me behind a golf ball, it is kind of likely that it goes somewhere near where it's supposed to. I definitely don't have control over it. And so sometimes when I hit a drive, I'm like, it goes 200 yards and I'm golfing with everybody else. I just have to like act natural. Like inside, I'm like, yes, I don't know how that happened, but I freaking love it. And inside, I'm like, yeah, no problem. I'm like, that's what you're supposed to do. You act cool about it. I had no control over that ball. But do you know who does? Rory freaking McIlroy. And it's because he's mastered it. He's been golfing since he was 2. I have 4 things I'm going to share with you about stats about mastery and why some people do master things and why some people don't. So hang around because I'm going to share those 4 things with you. But I actually wanted to start right before I share this clip of Rory because I'm going to play it for you because it's really, really powerful. But if you want to master paid advertising, and if by the end of this episode you're like, I'm in, then the first step towards mastery with your paid advertising for your company and your business is in the Win with Paid Ads Challenge. So you can click the link below this podcast or this video or go to ashleybrock.com/challenge and join this 5-day challenge where you will start the framework of truly understanding and mastering paid advertising for the long haul. So, all right, we're going to talk about these pieces of mastery and why some people do and don't master it. But let's start with what Rory says. So I want to set the stage for you. So he had just won. He had gotten on his knees and cried. He kissed his wife. He saw his family. He's walking up. And I just imagine it is this human experience unlike anything else. Like the whole world, like he is surrounded by people and he's like it like gets me emotional watching it. Like, I don't know if it's you, but like when you watch the Masters and you watch whoever that person is truly like become the victor, like truly win. Because the thing about golf, it is freaking hard and it takes so much time, energy, and effort. I cannot imagine how many times Rory missed a putt, missed a swing, like I can't imagine how much refinement that he has had to go through to be able to get to that moment and to watch a human be so relentless and consistent and resilient and to finally like win the game that they play. Like everything in his life has built up to that one moment where he finally got to cash in and be like, I earned this. And in the book, Psychology of Winning, it says that winners expect to win. You notice in Rory's acceptance speech, he was like, yeah, no idea. I must be lucky. Like that's not what he said, right? He mastered this. He knew, he anticipated the win. And that is what winners do. And that is you too. So let me share with you, if you're listening, I'm going to play this here so you can hear what Rory said. So he's in the room. He's had this human experience. I've already cried 10 tears. Like Kyle always peeks over at me and I'm like crying. When he kisses the wife or kisses the kid, I'm like, I can't. And so I'm just crying, watching this human just like be recognized and celebrate, like working so hard for something. It was so cool. Oh my God, why do I cry every time? I love watching people win. Something that's hard. And so anyway, here's where he is. So he's in the room. He's about to get his green jacket and they're interviewing him and they're like, Rory, like, what would you attribute this to? And here is what he said.
In a funny way. And I just think all week how I responded to setbacks. I think that's what I'll take from this week. And, couldn't be more proud of myself for that and being able to bounce back when I needed to.
And then
So he said he was so proud of how he responded to setbacks and how he could bounce back when he needed to. And that one sentence, if you choose to, it could change your life. I don't know why this like thought gets me so emotional every time, but like watching, like, could you imagine if every game, could you imagine if Rory, he started the day off in the Masters and had a double bogey, AKA for those of you that don't watch golf, that's 2 above par. It's not great. Below par is like really great. Okay. And for Rory, he can do birdies. He's done eagles. Pretty sure he's done a hole in one. It is so admirable that the person who won the Masters had a terrible first hole. Like he had every excuse in the world to be like, well, really jack this up. I'm 2 over par. But of course, a winner responds to setbacks like Rory did. They don't let it stop them and they keep going. And so when you think about mastery does not come because you did something for a little while. In fact, I actually looked up what does it really mean to master and how long does it take to master something. So I have Veronica and Robert here. And I told him I was going to ask him a question. So I want you guys to guess, how long do you think that there's a study, let me back up. There's a study from Malcolm Gladwell and Anders Ericsson, and they did a study about how many hours of practice someone has to have to say that they've mastered something. If you had to guess, how many hours do you think mastery requires? I'm going to say 1 to 2 hours a day. So 1 to 2 hours a day. If you had to say a total amount of hours, if it was like this total amount leads to someone mastering, what do you think that total amount would be? Robert, what do you think?
I'm a fan of his, so I already know the answer.
Oh, okay, you already know the answer. All right, so it's down to Veronica here. Veronica, drum roll. What do you think?
I don't know. 50?
Okay, she's going 50 hours. So good thing is we love Veronica, and it is not 50. It's actually a lot more than that. So there's this study, and it's called the 10,000 hour rule. 10,000 hours. And what it says is it takes roughly 10,000 hours of deliberate practice to achieve mastery in any field. And most people try golf, try videography, try reporting, try video editing. They do all those things for maybe 10 hours, maybe 100, maybe 1,000. But 10,000 is what they call mastery in this study. And so I asked ChatGPT, I said, hey, ChatGPT, if I've been doing ads since this time, how many hours of ads do I have? And I have 20,794 hours as of today. So I think I got like a double master. And I don't have my masters, but I feel like I should in ads from that many hours. And I was actually going to chat GPT and ask how many hours of mastery Rory has because he has been golfing since he was 2. Now, I did it on like an average 40-hour work week. And I can tell you right now, there's times I've been doing ads for 60 hours a week. That is for dang sure, especially agency life. Like you're running hundreds of thousands of dollars a day. People want some hourly changes and updates, and you've got multiple clients. Like it was, you work your little booty off consistently every day, all day, and you're on call when they need you. If an ad gets disapproved, I don't care if it's 9 o'clock at night, you got to fix it and be ready. So, oh my gosh, did you look up how many hours you had? Yeah. Okay. How many hours do you have, Robert, in videography?
8,000 hours.
Okay. So Robert has 80,000 hours of video editing skills. That's why it's so great. You know, it's just, if you really think about that, it is why most people don't master things. Who is really willing to stick with something long enough, right? So that is, when you look at someone and you say, what is mastery? I'm going to start saying, how many hours, right? It's actually why when you think about certification programs and internships and fellowships, the goal is to hit a certain amount of hours to inch away towards being on the destination of mastery of something. Now, here's what I have good news for you, by the way. If you're listening here and you're like, well, Ashley, that just proved my point. Not learning ads. I'll tell you right now, when you learn from someone who has mastered, it compresses time for you. I can guarantee you this. If I could pay Rory McIlroy to train my son in golf 2 hours a day, I would be willing to bet $1 million, which it's a lot of, I would be willing to bet at least $1 million that my son would be better at golf than 99% of people if he like mentored with Rory McIlroy for, let's just say, a year. Would you agree? That's not 10,000 hours. But I imagine it would compress time and speed things up, because when you learn from someone better than you at something, it takes you from having to be the one to figure out the elbow, the nodding, the leaning, getting every little even aspect of your shot or your approach right, because you're just learning from someone else. It's why the example I've given 8 million times, if I wanted to go build a car today, it would probably take me 50,000 hours to go figure out how to build a car. But if I worked with someone who had built cars for 50 years and had mastery, they could give me the shortcut lane and they'd be like, just click here, try this, put this here, use the wrench. And that car would be built before we know it. I bet we could build a car in a month if we had the right parts and the right person to teach me. That is compressing time. That is speed. That is what's possible for you with ads and really with any skill that you want to learn, is when you learn from someone who has mastered that thing. Now let's talk about the 3 other reasons why some people do and don't master things. So first, it's the 10,000 hour rule. Second, it's actually really interesting. So this is called the plateau concept. And I want you to envision this. And what the plateau concept says is that you make fast progress at first. So for those of you watching on YouTube, you can see my angle of my arm. Like if this is the beginning of the chart, it's fast progress at first, and then it actually plateaus for a little bit. So if you're listening, think of a steep incline. And once you hit that steep incline, there's a part where it actually just flattens out. This is the plateau concept. And by the end of where that plateau ends, that's where most people quit. They're like, okay, I saw fast progress. I learned and learned and learned, didn't make much progress. And they normally drop off. But the people who succeed, it flips and it begins to incline again. It's just most people get stuck here in the plateau before they can grow, right? So mastery means you push through the plateau so that you can grow. And that is like, when you think about mastery is not about perfection. It is about the relentlessness to continue, even when you're not doing a great job, even when it feels like you're not making progress, even when your campaign has spent $500 and doesn't have a lead yet. It's pushing through. And so mastery is knowing about what levers you can push. Yes. It's also knowing what you can fix when something's broken. That's why when people come to me and they're like, have you ever seen this before? Have you ever tried this? I am so unworried about whatever the circumstance is. It's like a pilot who's been flying a plane for 25 years. He experiences lightning in the air. He experiences turbulence. He experiences wind. Like when you do something over and over and over, you're experienced again and again and again with these scenarios that only time can offer you, right? I know with like video editing, I'm sure Robert, in his 50,000 or however many hours of experience, I'm sure there's been something, tell me if I'm wrong, Robert, where you accidentally recorded something and there was no audio. Oh, yeah. Of course. That, and guess what? I bet you learned, and I bet you double checked some other things because of the mistakes that you made. That is a gift that only time and experience can give you. If someone came up to Robert today and said, Robert, teach me everything you know, like there's so much he can do to help save them. And what he might do is actually tell them, now listen, one of the biggest mistakes you can make is forgetting the audio. And maybe you have all the intentions, you get everything right. Well, here's how you can triple check and double check that you have the audio. Whereas a newbie who'd never done it, they would have to learn that lesson on their own, right? So that's why compressing time and working with someone who's mastered something can really speed things up for you. It's not about perfection. It's about knowing what to pour gasoline on and how to stay calm when the platform freaks out, when your ads freak out, when the audio is missing, okay? So most people, they don't master because they don't make it through the plateau. Number 2, it's the 10,000 hours. Number 3, so there's this US news study that was recently done, and it said only 8% of people stick to their goals. Only 8% of people stick to their goals. What does that mean for you? It means you can beat 92% of people if you just stick to something long enough, right? Like simply just keeping the game allows you to be better than 92% of people. And here's how I want you to think about this. Most people quit before they get competent, let alone excellent. Most people quit before they get competent, let alone excellent. Don't quit when it's hard, quit when it's good. If you're struggling with something, that's not the moment you give up. Give up on that thing after you pushed through the hard thing, made it to the other side and it got good, and then decide, you know what, now's the time, right? That's why with marriages, with relationships, raise your hand if you've ever had some relationship challenges. I know I sure as heck have. And most people, some people quit when it's hard, when it's like, we're on the same page. Okay, we've been off each other's page and we're like this for months. That's when most people quit. It's like, why don't you get through that hard thing and get to the other side and then decide, was I making a decision because it was hard, or was I making a decision because it's what I really want, right? So only 8% of people stick to their goals. You can be that person. And so mastery on whatever it is, whether it's ads, whether it's something related to business or another skill, it lives on the other side of boredom and trial and temptation to quit and you pushing through anyway. So the last thing on what kind of can prevent people from actually mastering something, this one is really, really interesting. So I didn't know this existed. And it's called the forgetting curve. Have you heard of the forgetting curve? The forgetting curve says that 70% of new information we lose unless we have repetition, unless it's reviewed, and unless it's practiced. So if you've ever, like I know for sure because I have an ads training program. People look at me like, this is ad school. Yeah, it's not a cheap, it's not a quick, it's like a actual legit comprehensive step-by-step, all this, okay? So people come to me and we get on these coaching calls and like, hey, Ashley, I have a question. And they're asking a question and I'm like, I see that they've watched the module where I said that. And I read another study. I need to go back and look at the exact stats, but it's something like your brain can only process so much new information at once. I think it's like on a normal routine day, I believe, if I remember correctly, 90% of what we do is automatic or like frequent, especially when you've been, obviously when you're starting a new job or when you're getting a new car or when you're moving into a new place, there's new thoughts, new ideas. But once you get into the motion of something, it's typically that 90% of our day is routine and only 10% of it is new. When you're going to class, when you're going to school, when you're learning something new, so much more of it is newer and your brain actually physically, like realistically cannot capture it all. So I'll ask someone a question like, did you watch the module? And they're like, yeah, it wasn't in there. And I'm like, it's not that it wasn't in there. It's that your brain was consuming so much newness. It can't take in every living, breathing word, which is why repetition is needed, which is why people don't master, because we forget 70%. Oh, this is it. I even missed it even better. We forget 70% of new information in the first 24 hours, unless it is practiced or reviewed, right? So that is why when people come to me and they'll be like, even students of mine, clients of mine, they'll say, hey, Ashley, I'm having to watch it like 2 or 3 times. I'm like, you should watch it 7. Honestly, it's brand new information. I didn't go to Spanish class for 2 classes and I'm fluent in Spanish. And it's going to be the same thing for ads or any skill that you have. The practice, the repetition, the doing it long enough that you're actually making a mistake allows you to really, really get good. Okay. So mastery requires repetition, refinement, and recommitment over and over again. And I want you to think of it like muscles, okay? You see these things? These are what you call guns, right? These are some guns. Now listen, I did break my foot one time, okay? I broke my foot. I'm not going to tell you how that happened. All I got to say is I did not see the ledge, okay? So it was only a couple inches, but I did break my foot, and it was pretty darn bad. And it was on Lake Weekend. Lake Weekend, by the way, is like one weekend a year where we get our friends together and we rent a boat and we just have Lake Weekend, and it's really fun. Well, Ashley, it may have been dark, and Ashley may or may not have missed like a 3-inch step. That's the bad part, is the ledge was like 3 inches. Anyway, broke my foot, went to the hospital, was in a cast for about 8 weeks. And do you know what happened? Atrophy. What is atrophy? So atrophy is defined as a gradual decline or wasting away of something due to underuse, neglect, or lack of activity. Atrophy. When you try to learn something and you don't repeat it and you don't use it, that skill atrophies. That skill declines. That skill wastes away. That skill goes away due to underuse and neglect and lack of activity. Someone will say, well, I watched that module 4 months ago. I'm like, if you're doing it again, you're going to need to watch it again if you want to master it, if you want to get really good at it. You're not crazy for having to rewatch it. There's nothing wrong with you because your brain can't remember what you just watched. It takes repetition to really, really get good at something. And if in any skill you have, in business and in life, it will atrophy when you don't use it. So using this skill of advertising all day, every day could allow you to do what happened to Rory. Are you ready? What happened to Rory? $4.2 million in a day is what he made. Now there's taxes, but he made $4.2 million in a day. Great news. I'm nowhere near as cool as Rory McIlroy. I pray one day that I can like be as cool as him. But what's really cool is I have a skill that has already made me over 4 million in the last couple of years, right? Me and this company. And my clients, I made them millions of dollars per month with this skill. So no, I'm not as cool as Rory, and I have a skill that it can allow you and your company and your business and your impact to be able to make way more than $4.2 million, right? Some clients are making $4.2 million in a day, okay? Rory McIlroy-esque. But this skill of mastering paid advertising can give you that win and that victory too, and you can master it, and it can pay exponentially more than any master's purse could ever pay for the long term, for your life and business and your family. So that is the power of mastering paid advertising. And so if you have not joined the Win with Paid Ads Challenge, I want to invite you to click the link below this video or this podcast and join, where we're going to start on your journey to mastering paid advertising, because it's likely going to be the thing that can allow your business to grow the most, because more people find out about you, right? You don't have to rely on only posting and hoping on Instagram. You actually are targeting and guaranteeing certain exposure. And this skill is something that you can master, and then you can delegate it to someone on your team so that you never have to outsource this expertise ever again. And what's cool for those of you with the 7 and 8 figure businesses, I know you're busy. I know you're like, I don't want to learn it. You should, because it'll allow you to more confidently manage this person. And when I say you should, I mean, because this is probably going to be the line item on your business that is the highest, that in your team. And it's going to be the thing that makes you the most amount of money, impact, and allows you to do what I believe that you were created to do, that God created you to do, is serve the people with your gift that you have. And let's get the gift to them. And that is speed. That is through mastery of paid advertising. So I want to invite you into the challenge and the Win the Paid Ads Challenge. So click the link below, and I will see you on the next episode.